Right guys, and welcome back to look at another game today that has once more caught our interest, though this time for some slightly different reasons. For starters, there's been a huge hullabaloo surrounding this, and then it kind of dropped off my radar for a fair while now. Really curious what's going on there. However, they have released a brand new trailer, and one that I cannot wait to check out for the simple reason that it says GeForce 4K RTX. That is going to look beautiful. But the reason it first came to my attention wasn't because of the game itself. Sure, I've had a little look at some of the previous trailers, but really it's the stuff that's going on in the background, the development of this game that's really got me interested. And the game in question, of course, is Atomic Heart. Now, if you've heard this before, you may well have heard of the controversy surrounding it, and we'll be getting to that soon, mostly because, a little bit of a spoiler for those who don't know, but it kind of sounds like another Anthem. And I freaking love the history of Anthem. Not the game, but the history is cool. But before we get into any of that, first off, let's check this brand new trailer because I really want to see what they've been making. I really want to see what a brand new graphics card can actually do, or at least what they say it can. I've just got to say before we continue, something that's always kind of piqued my curiosity when it came to any of this sort of stuff, the demonstration of graphics and this potential and visuals. I'm watching this on a 1920 by 1080, like, I think it goes over 60 Hertz, but it doesn't matter because most of the games I have don't play over that, so there's literally no point. So when it comes to checking out any kind of visual that is supposedly 4K or RTX or super ridiculously amazing, like, if I can't even perform that, what's the point in showing it to me? It is literally like showing a picture to someone with sunglasses on. You're just not going to be able to see it the same. Anyway, rant aside, I tell you what though, the water effects are bloody beautiful. The hell was that? Okay, the comparisons to BioShock are just increasing. It was something I first noticed when I had a look at this, was that they've kind of taken elements of all these different games that all work really well and just rammed them all together. And this will lead into something we're going to talk about later on, but it really does make you question where they're going with this. Like, the individual ideas are really cool, but how do you combine them? How do you make a congruent, solid core gameplay experience? It's something that a lot of games nowadays really are struggling with when they're introducing too many abilities, too many pieces of equipment, too many areas to go. Sandboxes are incredibly bad for this. Sandbox RPGs, that is. They end up just overloading you with so much stuff that you don't see half of it, and the stuff you do see, you just think, why didn't you give me this at the start? Like, why did I have to unlock this? It's just a little pet peeve I'm having with modern games. It's awesome you have the variability, but some direction, some focus really isn't a bad thing. The water still looks freaking awesome though. Oh, you took out the Michelin Man! But he's plump and lovable. Communist robots, okay. I should say the communist robots kind of make sense given the fact that this is based in the Soviet era, but still? Right, well, graphically, yeah, pretty freaking awesome. That was, once more I bring back to the idea of, is my 1920 by 1080 screen actually able to show me what that looks like? But still, you can see where the effects are coming in, you can see how it's a lot more fluid, a lot more. But honestly, I feel like I'm trying to just compensate for something that may or may not even be there at this point and trying to trick my brain into really believing it is. Either way though, we come to one of the age-old questions when it comes to any kind of trailer, when we see this beautiful image. So we have the water glistening, rippling, reflecting, something that is insanely hard to do. And on top of that, we have actual people hanging around, having a chinwag, moving around and trying to steal a bike. But most importantly, we have the rays of light coming down and affecting the water. This is all impressive stuff. But is it real? Is this actually what you will get in the game? Because how many games have shown bloody good visuals and trailers and then been absolutely rubbish when you finally got to take them out? Watch Dogs is instantly coming to mind, but let's face facts, we've all been burned before. And then when we come to the gameplay section, this is still pretty limited. We're not seeing anything of the hood. We're not seeing any elements of UI, things you will actually have in the game and how you will interact with them. We are seeing some weapon variety. We have some pistol gas thing and some kind of, I cannot wait to play with it, electric beam rifle, which, let's face facts, we're going back to the days of Duke Nukem, is just good fun. And then of course, the tentacle hand thing, which is making up for the Bioshock dread I have in my soul. If we have to save little sisters, I'm just not going to be happy. They always hated me. But we've also got a variety of enemies. We've got some robots, we have some of these things, which I'm pretty sure they just ripped directly off Stranger Things. Once more beginning that issue of how much of this stuff is their own idea and how much has just been taken off the shelf. And then eventually we go to Aincrad. Booyah! Well, they've cut down the amount of floors on this tower, I'll give them that much. But it definitely looks good, it looks interesting, which is always important, but also you've got tons of variety coming through. Now, this is where the big issue comes in, and this is where I was first alerted to Atomic Heart in the first place, but also where I've learned the most about it. As of now, Atomic Heart is currently set for the release date of February this year, but you can find articles and information about this all the way back from 2019. This game has been a long way coming, and to be honest, I'm amazed that they still have an article with the words slated for 2019 on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I mean, it doesn't even include modern consoles on that. Already we have a game that's covering a huge expanse of environments, game styles, different enemy types, weapon types, different forms of combat. You have your, I don't want to call it plasmid, octomid, with exactly the same accusations coming into all the information we've been given so far. We can see this back in 2019, that already we have people suggesting that the gameplay was heavily directed, providing an extremely linear look at what the game is and what it has to offer. Not to mention the outright statement, well, I'm going to leave them for the mostly fake bit, but rendered in the engine, as in not part of actual gameplay, but tailor-made for it. We have suggestions of breakdown in management, with different levels of the company not knowing what's going on with the game, different areas of development being shipped off to different groups, and actually outsourcing parts of it, meaning that you're not having a single congruent team all working together with a single solid plan in mind. Combine this with my most hated of all things, pre-orders and pre-order bonuses. And on the note of those pre-orders, and do excuse the fact this is in Japanese yen, but you can see these aren't cheap. It's like 8,800 up to 15,000, which for the record means that the cheapest one is around 60-70 bucks. I'm just not a fan. And if that wasn't enough, we also have accusations of the inevitable crunch coming in towards release, which, let's face facts, does absolutely no one any good. The game developers hate it, and rightly so. The game quality suffers massively for it, and gamers themselves end up with an inferior product on release. In fact, I think the only person that could ever say anything good has happened because of crunch has got to be some douchebag suit in an office as head of the marketing department. And I don't want to get too bogged down with this because I do have a hell of a lot to say when it comes to the whole crunch push for release mentality of game design right now. But I do feel like I kind of honestly have to ask, does anyone out there even remotely like when a game has been absolutely forced to reach a deadline? Not to say there's anything good of constantly delaying things, but if the end results are higher quality, then it does seem like the lesser of two evils. Along with something that I was extremely interested to see, and that is the allegation of the creation of a culture of crunch, indecision, and reinventing the wheel. All of this really ringing those alarm bells off for anyone who followed along with the creation of Anthem. And it's the reason why, as soon as I heard about this, it just pinged in. Development is confused as to what they actually need to do, management doesn't have a clue. Everyone's now having to work their absolute arse off to get anything finished in time, leading to a high turnover, meaning new people are coming in who weren't there from the start. They don't know what the base idea was. They're trying to pick up from someone who didn't even know themselves, with basically the cherry on the cake being that what we've seen so far is just a vertical slice of the game itself, which, given just how much variance there is in each part of that gameplay trailer, honestly kind of rings true. Now, all of these allegations popping up definitely draws things into question as to just how the game will be on release, and given the time it's spent in development, whether or not it actually will be released on time and in any form of playable state. And as always, we are holding back and waiting for that full-scale gameplay trailer that really shows actually how you'll play the game. To be honest, at this point, I think everyone should just have like at least 10-20 seconds of solid gameplay, even if your gameplay is just running around in circles trying to find people to get quests from, because if that is your game, then that's what you gotta show. But there's still been some cool stuff in it, and if we combine it with the trailer from back in Gamescom, then you end up with a pretty darn cool picture of just what Atomic Heart could, and to be honest, should be. Weird, yet awesome, and oddly reminiscent of GTFO. And now that I'm watching it again, a much heavier focus on melee than the current trailer is showing. And honestly, I'm kind of up in arms about this one again. Curious to hear what you guys think. Give it a shout down in the comments. That'll have to do for today. Till next time, as always, peace out. And a defeat. Your journey continues. We return, our bushy little tail tucked neatly between our legs.